On World News Tonight this Thursday, last stop on the presidential poverty tour. Did Mr. Clinton make a difference? Is anyone listening? There's a drumbeat against Slobodan Milosevic now. Might the Yugoslav leader's days be numbered? Watching people die from AIDS when you have the drugs that might save them. We'll take a closer look. USA! And the U.S. women's soccer team playing for the World Cup now and trying to build a legacy.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening. President Clinton is on the fourth day of his tour through some of the country's most impoverished areas. Today he was in the Watts section of Los Angeles. No part of that city has had more difficulty or greater challenge in the last 40 years. This is also the final day of the president's poverty tour, and it gives the occasion to many people to ask why he waited 6.5 years to put such a focus on poverty, and has the trip made a difference? We begin with ABC's John Cochran.
Today, President Clinton got some help selling his investment package from Magic Johnson. Johnson has invested in movie theaters in the Watts area and had his own message for executives reluctant to move into troubled areas.
It's good business. You got to remember, we got income to spend.
A tired president urged Congress to pass tax credits and loan guarantees and urged companies to take advantage of them.
It is the morally right thing to do, and it is in the self-interest of every American who participates in it.
As the president made his way across the country this week to 6 very different pockets of poverty, his aides have been surprised at his good luck in trying to get the nation's attention. There were no high school shootings, no foreign crises to distract Americans from Clinton's focus on poverty. He traveled to Anaheim to make his final pitch to business executives, who in public at least said they were impressed. How important are these incentives in getting businesses to invest in poverty areas?
I think they're terribly important. I think that they must rank amongst the highest priorities that we have today in our society.
So it is important for the president and Congress to do something now.
The president's plan has received a mostly positive reception from Republicans, who are talking about compassionate conservatism and are eager to show their interest in helping the poor. Republicans are also quick to remind you they have visited the same areas and have their own package of incentives.
We're delighted that the president is doing this tour, that he is seeing out there what we saw 4 years ago.
Nothing happened 4 years ago. This time, both Republicans and the president say the chances of doing something for America's left-out areas are pretty good. John Cochran, ABC News, Anaheim, California.
On the streets in Watts today, there was skepticism about the president's plans for economic revival, skepticism, too, about private business. People have heard the promises before. Indeed, Watts is a place that has struggled, sometimes violently, to overcome the divisions of race and class and opportunity, and the pace of progress has sometimes been slow. Here's ABC's Brian Rooney.
The 1965 riots left a brand on this part of South Central Los Angeles known as Watts.
The worst riot in the history of Los Angeles County.
And the area's reputation suffered further during even bigger riots in 1992. But look around. Investment, both public and private, has begun to change Watts. There's a shopping center, like any suburban shopping center in America. Nice new homes with picket fences, and a modern rail line.
Things have completely changed, but businesses still have not moved in.
Here, for instance, at this adult education center, people are trained or retrained for work in the new economy. But when they get a job, it's usually not in Watts.
I would tell the president that we need jobs in the area. There are jobs outside the area, but we need jobs within the Watts community.
Over the years, politicians have come to Watts offering training, economic incentives, and promises. But this has not produced many jobs.
It is hard to find enough land for a big operation here. But as much as anything, the failure of businesses to come to Watts may simply be a lack of interest in a place they don't know or understand.
Some people in Watts are on the verge of big success after getting help. Twin brothers Larry and Harry McElroy got an $800,000 investment of government money to develop management software for the Los Angeles police and major companies. If the McElroys stay on track, they could employ hundreds of people.
You're partners, and you're developing something patiently investing over the long haul so that you have something that's valuable.
And demonstrate that this can be a place to invest and make money. Brian Rooney, ABC News, South Central Los Angeles.
On the money tonight from elsewhere, good news from Japan as far as the United States is concerned. The Japanese government said today it will try to encourage economic growth by staying out of the economy and allowing more competition among businesses. And while we're in Japan, the Wall Street firm Goldman Sachs has begun sponsoring a program on television in Tokyo called Money Angels. Play on Charlie's Angels, of course. In this case, the program's female stars try to unlock the mysteries of financial planning. Goldman Sachs hopes the show will help its asset management business in Japan. On Wall Street today, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was down more than 60 points to close at 11,126. On the NASDAQ, stocks were up 28, almost 29 points. And finally, who could resist complaining about the new policy at the Better Business Bureau of Dallas? If you have been scammed, you'll have to pay now to file a complaint, $9.95. And the Food and Drug Administration is going to allow makers of whole grain cereals to say on the box that their products help prevent cancer and heart disease. It is the first time that any food has been certified as an effective, specific way to fight two diseases. When we come back, more Serbs in the streets. Do they have Mr. Milosevic's number? And World Cup soccer going for #1, and it's more than a girls' craze now.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Brought to you by the new Impala by Chevrolet.
When was the last time you drove just for the fun of it? Why doesn't somebody bring that back? Meet the new Chevy Impala. Designed, engineered, and built to be the most carefree car on the road.
Let's go for a drive.
Summer. Time to get busy with Red Lobster's 30 shrimp dinner for $9.99. Two choices, 30 shrimp, $9.99. Escape to Red Lobster.
In this envelope with a green star could be a real check for $25,000. In this one could be $100,000. This week there are thousands of real checks in selected Publishers Clearinghouse envelopes with a green star. Watch your mail.
Out here, am I supposed to say, slow down, I'm constipated? I don't think so. So I rely on doctor-recommended Metamucil. Works with my body, gently, which is important to a sensitive guy like myself.
There are fresh reports today from South Korea that North Korea is preparing to test a long-range missile. The U.S. has already said there would be a very strong response if North Korea did so. In North Korea today, a rare sighting of the country's leader, Kim Jong-il. He led a massive memorial service for his father, the leader who died 5 years ago. In Yugoslavia today, once again, several thousand people took to the streets to say that President Milosevic had to go. It is certainly a summer of discontent there now. For years, the Serbs have tolerated Mr. Milosevic, even though many acknowledged he was a butcher and a tyrant. The difference now, he's seen as a loser. Here's ABC's Bill Rediker.
There is now a real feeling here that Slobodan Milosevic's days are numbered. Not only because of the size of the demonstrations, but because of the variety of people who attend them. A woman in Leskovac who lost a relative in the war. A refinery worker in Novi Sad who no longer has a job. Soldiers from Kosovo who still have not been paid.
What are we facing this time is genuine anger within the society itself.
The protests are different in other ways. Some of them are erupting in cities once considered government strongholds. Military reservists have blocked roads as their form of protest. And the Serbian Orthodox Church has also joined the call for Milosevic to resign. Fact of the matter is, opposition politicians are finding it hard to keep up with it all.
We must act very fast, and we must remove Milosevic in the next 6 months.
Zoran Djindjic is a philosopher turned politician who this week told demonstrators that Slobodan Milosevic has lost 4 wars, leading Serbs in on tanks, only to return on tractors. Milosevic has weathered popular uprisings before, but he still controls the police, his secret service, and the media, which still presents only his views. Intelligence reports indicate Milosevic has transferred money to other countries, including South Africa. But that was before he was indicted as a war criminal, and other countries may now be reluctant to shelter him. For now, his regime is trying to win back some support. This week, showering protesters with leaflets urging them not to side with traitors and collaborators. But on the street, the leaflets were ignored. Bill Redeker, ABC News, Belgrade.
One item about U.S. politics today. It didn't take Mrs. Clinton long in her campaign for the Senate to disagree with her husband and the U.S. government. Mrs. Clinton has told an Orthodox Jewish group she considers Jerusalem the eternal and indivisible capital of Israel, and that the U.S. Embassy should be moved there. The Jewish vote is very important in New York State. When we come back, sick and stranded at the South Pole.
Fortunately for Millie, Dr. Espinoza was in the office early, while someone else was drafting the marketing plan to sell his home. At 11, he was making his rounds, instead of visiting his title company. At 1 p.m., he was giving Pam good news, instead of checking for disclosure documents. And by the time Dr. Espinoza wrote the day's last prescription, someone else was at his home meeting a prospective buyer. You've got a life. We let you live it. We're Realtors. Real estate is our life.
Discover the great-tasting fiber therapy that won't produce excess gas. Discover Citracel. People prefer the taste of Citracel over Metamucil 2-to-1. Taste tests prove it. Citracel. No excess gas and better taste, too.
I'll be seeing you in all the old familiar places that this heart of mine...
Have you seen Transitions lenses lately? Indoors, the changing tint is clear. Outdoors, they're the darkest Transitions lenses ever. For all-day comfort and convenience, Transitions lenses, right in any light. Come to JCPenney Optical and get free frames up to $119 when you buy Transitions lenses.
Hi, I'm Bob Vila. You know, your home is your sanctuary, the one place you and your children should feel safe. But there can be dangers, too, and some of them are not so obvious. Improperly wired outlets that can electrocute, water coolers that can burn, household cleaners that can kill, lead paint that can poison. To find out about them, call HUD.
For a free brochure on HUD's healthy homes and FHA loans, just call. HUD and FHA are on your side.
3 things I always do before I barbecue ribs. Whip up my secret hot sauce, get the coals just right, and I always take a Pepsid AC.
Whatever's cooking, Pepsid AC can stop heartburn before it starts.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the other news in brief today. There was a case of very severe turbulence over the Atlantic today. A Continental Airlines Boeing 737 had to make an emergency landing in Bermuda. 19 people were injured. In Las Vegas today, the worst flooding in 15 years. Intersections turned into lakes, motorists stranded and then rescued. Las Vegas gets an average 4 inches of rain a year. Today, some parts of the city got nearly 3. The South Pole is about as far from medical help and almost everything else as any spot in the world, and medical assistance is what a 47-year-old woman at the South Pole Research Station needs. She has discovered a lump on her breast. She can't go anywhere for an examination, certainly not for treatment, for some time. So what to do? Here's ABC's Ned Potter.
Great God, what an awful place, said one of the first men to reach the pole, and his words still ring true. Right now it's 80 below zero there, and it's midwinter. For 6 straight months the sun does not even rise. It must be terrible there for a woman to find she may be ill. This morning, an Air Force plane with emergency supplies took off from Tacoma, Washington. It could land at the South Pole, but not count on taking off. In the extreme cold, a plane's flaps and landing gear can freeze in place. Its wings can literally turn brittle.
The temperatures are actually below the minimums that the aircraft could safely operate in.
So the crew will fly from Tacoma to Hawaii to New Zealand, and from there they will go another 3,000 miles to the pole to drop bundles of medicine and other supplies from midair.
You do have to recover the bundles very rapidly because they will freeze almost within about 5 to 7 minutes.
The South Pole Research Station has a doctor and a trauma center and can get medical advice by satellite phone or email. But the 40 people who winter there go with the understanding that at least until November, they cannot come home in case of trouble. Ned Potter, ABC News.
In a moment, we're going to look at AIDS in Africa. It's a horror. And when there are drugs available, why are people dying?
It's time. Time for your heartburn to kick in because your heartburn relief gave out. It happens 2 or more days a week, even though you've treated it and changed your diet. That frequent, persistent heartburn may be due to acid reflux disease, potentially serious.
It's Prilosec time. Time to see your doctor about prescription Prilosec. Your results may vary, but for many people, Prilosec provides 24 hours of complete heartburn relief with 1 daily dose. Ask your doctor for more information about Prilosec and if it's right for you. The most common side effects are headache, diarrhea, and abdominal pain. 24 hours of complete heartburn relief is possible. It's Prilosec time.
Have you tried these yet? Specialized blends from one a day. Not just herbs. Herbs, vitamins, and minerals for things like memory. Have you seen my keys? Where are the keys? 83. And energy. Excuse me. Excuse me. Even tension and mood. Help your body help itself with one a day specialized blends. They're just what you need to feel your best.
It's summer, when everybody can use the refreshment of a good hose down. And your deck can use the refreshment of a new coat of Thompson's Wood Protector. For rain, sun, mildew, it's the most powerful Thompson's yet. Thompson's Wood Protector. It never takes a day off.
Now where did that come from? Whoa! Hey, I've got bugs everywhere!
Boy, you need Ortho Bug Be Gone.
You said it.
It kills virtually all types of harmful outdoor bugs. Guaranteed.
Works on my lawn.
Uh-huh.
On vegetables, too?
Yep, Bug Be Gone does it all. So it's all you need.
Beautiful. That Bug Be Gone really works.
Got bugs? Leave it to Ortho.
Now, from Seabond Denture Adhesive comes a fresh new hope. New Seabond Natural Fresh. Natural mint freshness and a soft, thin seal that bonds dentures to gums. Original and new Seabond Natural Fresh.
We're going to take a closer look tonight at 2 countries where the weight of the AIDS virus is such that they hardly know where to turn. We mean weight in terms of burden. 33 million people in the world are infected with the HIV virus or AIDS itself. 90% of them live in Asia and Latin America and Africa. It's a major dilemma. Should the wealthier nations provide AIDS drugs to those countries that cannot possibly afford them? We're going to start in South Africa. Here's ABC's Jackie Judd.
Keep that spirit.
Treating the more than 3 million AIDS-infected patients in South Africa is a hopeless endeavor. AZT and the newer AIDS drugs that prolong life cost between $500 and $1,000 a month. That is not only out of reach of the average South African, but also the government. Some patients are not even told the drugs exist.
Frustrating. I mean, what do you say to young people in their 20s, 30s, who have such a limited life expectancy?
So 2 years ago, the South African government decided that morally it had to do something. It passed a law that would allow cheap, generic versions of the drugs to be locally produced or imported without the permission of drug companies.
Certainly, we in South Africa and in the countries that cannot afford these expensive drugs, to say to the rest of the world, is it all right that we cannot afford those drugs and therefore you are going to leave us to die?
But the law never went into effect. Drug companies worldwide, including American firms that produce AIDS drugs, took South Africa to court. They alleged the law would violate patents, send profits tumbling, and stifle expensive research. The industry also argues, and many health professionals agree, that cheaper drugs alone are never the answer. The pills need to be taken in a systematic way. Patients need to be closely supervised, which the South African medical system cannot provide.
Just giving people drugs without the proper treatment can create drug-resistant strains of HIV. It can make people sicker, not better, and that threatens AIDS patients everywhere around the world.
What happens next depends to some extent on the outcome of the court case. Even if it should lead to cheaper drugs, that would only be a small piece of the puzzle. Ultimately, the international community may have to intervene to help Africa as a whole come to grips with this overwhelming crisis. Jackie Judd, ABC News.
The science here is complicated. Unless the new AIDS drugs are given under controlled circumstances, not only might they be ineffective, but there's a danger that the virus will find a way to overcome them. And a more potent virus might develop, and anytime there's a new strain, there is, of course, a danger that it will spread. This is a concern they share in Zambia, to the north of South Africa. And ABC's Richard Gisbert is there.
These men are HIV positive, and they are working in one of Zambia's few growth industries, coffin making. AIDS is punishing this country too, 200 deaths a day. The newest drugs are hard to get here as well, but even if they were available, Zambian officials believe it is better to let someone like Veronica die than to give the drugs without the proper supervision. Because in Zambia, they agree with the drug companies that anything less than a full course of treatment with the right drugs could result in the HIV virus mutating into something even more deadly.
And if you give them these drugs without all these supportive services we are talking about actually making all the types of HIV virus strain resistant to the drug. Is this what we want to happen?
The government even raids unlicensed pharmacies to make sure no one buys the latest drugs on the black market. What the government cannot stop, however, is someone like Winston Zulu, who managed for a while to get the drugs from Europe. But later, at the funeral of a friend, another victim of AIDS, he admitted his supply had run out before he had completed the required course.
I have a real risk that the next time I start, I may become resistant to one or two, or all of them.
And that is what the government here is trying to avoid. Someone developing a resistant strain, passing it on, and beginning a new epidemic. Which is why Zambia is letting its people die today, so that thousands, maybe even millions, can be saved tomorrow. Richard Gisbert, ABC News.
Just one final note about the drug companies. Glaxo Wellcome, that makes the AZT drug, has cut drug prices to some African countries. And Bristol Myers Squibb, the makers of 3 of the AIDS drugs, says it's spending $100 million in Africa on AIDS-related programs. When we come back, America's team.
Great meal.
Uh-oh, gas pressure. What now? What else? Gas-X, with the most powerful medicine for fast relief. Nothing works faster.
Hey, want to go for ice cream?
Gas-X, the power to fight gas fast.
This week, the Publishers Clearinghouse Prize Patrol has no van to drive and no checks to deliver. Because this week, Publishers Clearinghouse is putting thousands of real checks right in the mail. If you get an envelope with this green star, open it and you can find a real check for $100,000 that you can take right to the bank. So this week, the Prize Patrol will have to find something else to do. Yes. Nice one. Watch for a Publishers Clearinghouse envelope with a green star. There could be a real check inside.
Spray and Wash Advanced Stain Care penetrates faster than Shout and powers out those dirty sweat stains. So you can
let them go, let them play. Let them go with Spray and Wash.
Statistics show that when people take Motrin IB the minute they feel muscle pain, the foothills feel 14% less hilly. The local color is 33% more colorful, and your husband is 27% sweeter. When you get to the pain before the pain gets to you with Motrin IB, you'll feel like you could ride to Rome. If only you knew which road to take. Motrin IB. Life is too good to feel bad.
Tonight, they were the country's most glamorous couple. Beautiful, heroic, wealthy. But their lives were shattered forever when their son suddenly vanished. What else did they lose that night? Vanished. Tonight.
Finally this evening, 2 days until the finals. And if you don't know what finals, you may already have missed some of the most exciting sports action in a long time. The U.S. women's soccer team meets China in the World Cup finals this Saturday. ABC's Robin Roberts tonight on the coming Pasadena spectacle.
The pitch of World Cup fever has reached a crescendo in just 3 short weeks. More than 500,000 people filling stadiums across the United States.
This is beyond our wildest dreams, the kind of excitement that's behind all this.
In Chicago, this girl was running after the bus. I mean, the girl must have ran a good 3/4 mile.
It's an awesome moment to walk out and feel the stadium erupt to our presence.
Nearly 79,000 voices for the first game alone. In the history of Giant Stadium, the only crowd larger came to see the Pope.
It's way beyond the Rose Bowl and Giant Stadium, and we haven't reached the Pope status yet, but we're working on it.
It's a far cry from 1991, when the U.S. team returned victorious from China after the first World Cup.
We came home and there was like, 2 people in the airport? You know, we were thinking ticker tape parade. I was going to be able to get away from my finals.
8 years and 2,000 media credentials later, they have arrived.
Here is, ladies and gentlemen, your 1999 U.S. Women's World Cup. Soccer moms, soccer mamas!
But it's not just soccer moms and their kids attending games. This team has also captivated mainstream America.
It's not boring, you just keep scoring. Please don't take my Mia away.
We're just vibrant right now and alive and really having fun. And they are using that spark, our spark, to kind of spark their own vision or potential of themselves.
These women have potentially influenced young lives, the impact of which may not yet fully be realized.
25 years from now, there's going to be a woman running for president, and someone will ask her a question and say, what was the defining moment in your childhood? Why are you here today? And she'll say, the 1999 Women's World Cup.
Time will determine if that will be the case. But in the meantime, this president seems to be a fan. Yes, even the first family has rallied behind Team USA. President Clinton will also attend the final game between the U.S. and China Saturday here at the Rose Bowl. He'll have plenty of company. It's already sold out. A record crowd of more than 85,000 is expected. Robin Roberts, ABC News, Pasadena, California.
That's our report on World News Tonight. Have a good evening. See you tomorrow. I'm Peter Jennings. Good night.
Tomorrow, it's no game. Police, firefighters, even air traffic controllers have a real use for virtual reality. It has to be seen to be believed. Watch World News Tonight. This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source. ABCnews.com, now a part of the Go Network.
You don't want